All right, we're looking at the Allard Family case study on private wealth. Let's read question 1. Peter's tendency to give too much importance to information that is easily remembered most likely represents which of the following behavioral biases? A. Framing effects, B. Availability heuristic, or C. Anchoring. So looking at this without doing any reading, framing effects is going to occur when people make different decisions based on how information is presented rather than on the actual information itself or how easily it's remembered. So that's probably not our answer. B, the availability heuristic is a cognitive bias, which people tend to rely on information readily available to them or easily recalled, hence easily remembered. This is probably going to be our answer. And then C is anchoring. This is when people rely too heavily on an initial piece of information, not necessarily what's easily remembered. So that's probably not our answer. So without reading anything, I'm going to go with B, but let's read and just make sure we're not missing out on anything here. The Allard family, a prominent household with a significant wealth portfolio, has approached you, a private wealth advisor, for a comprehensive review of their financial strategy. Peter Allard, now 55, inherited a substantial part of his wealth from his grandfather, who built a successful pharmaceutical empire. Despite the family's long history of wealth, Peter has shown a key understanding in the psychological aspects of financial decision-making and ensuring his wealth is managed ethically and efficiently. Peter and his wife, Helene, have 3 children, Lilia, Colette, and Manon. Lilia, the eldest, has recently graduated from university with a degree in psychology, has become particularly interested in the behavioral biases that affect financial decisions. She is curious how psychological factors can influence wealth management and has asked you to help understand these dynamics better. Helene, who is highly involved in the family's philanthropic activities, has noticed that Peter often relies on easily recalled information when making investment decisions, which sometimes leads to suboptimal outcomes. Helene believes that Peter's decision-making process could benefit from a more structured approach that considers a broader set of information. Okay, so we've just got that Peter relies on easily remembered information, which we were kind of given in the question anyway. So I'm going to stick with B, go with our availability heuristic. Question 2. Besides high extroversion and high openness, which of the following is most likely another characteristic of Peter's entrepreneurial personality profile? A, high agreeableness, B, high neuroticism, or C, high conscientiousness. Let's read a little bit more. We left off here. Peter, on the other hand, identifies strongly with his role as a business owner and investor. He is known for his high levels of extroversion and openness to new experiences, which has been critical to his success as an entrepreneur. However, Helene has pointed out that his personality traits also include a strong sense of discipline and self-control, which she believes has contributed significantly to his meticulous approach to achieving long-term goals. Okay, so which characteristic, in addition to kind of extroversion and openness, which of these characteristics also lines up with discipline and self-control, which Helene says is important. So which of these kind of line up with there? So A, high agreeableness. Entrepreneurs have to make tough decisions that not everyone will typically like, so they're usually going to be not very agreeable. And a lot of times, to be an entrepreneur, you kind of have to disagree with the current state of a business or profession to kind of be an entrepreneur and make changes. B, high neuroticism. So neuroticism is typically going to lead to a lot of emotional swings and anxiety, which is going to make being an entrepreneur pretty difficult because you have to make very important decisions. So being very anxious and having anxiety will probably lead to you not making very good decisions. So we can probably rule that out as well. C, high conscientiousness. This is going to be associated with being disciplined and self-controlled, more organization and goal-oriented, which is certainly aligns with his meticulous approach and kind of the discipline self-control. So we can go with answer C as the third personality trait. Question 3. Given your firm's fiduciary standard of care, which investment would you most likely recommend to Peter and Helene for exposure to the U.S. equity market? A, ETF, B, mutual fund, or C, an equally weighted mixture of the ETF and mutual fund. So we need to read a little bit more, learn about this ETF and mutual fund. We left off here. Recently, Peter and Helene faced a decision about investing in the U.S. equity market. Peter prefers investment options that align with their family's long-term objectives and has been evaluating two potential investments: an S&P index-based exchange-traded fund with a low management fee, and an S&P index-based mutual fund offered by your firm with a higher management fee. Given your firm's commitment to a fiduciary standard of care, the Allards are keen to make the right choice that best serves their financial interests. This is pretty straightforward. So we've got an ETF with low fees or a mutual fund offered by your firm with a higher management fee. As a fiduciary, you need to put your client's interest above your firm's interest. So the ETF and the mutual fund are offering the same exposure, but the ETF has a lower cost, so we need to choose the ETF for the client. This is where things get tricky in the financial industry, because the thing that's best for the firm is not always going to be best for the client, and so that's where that kind of conflict of interest comes in. But we need to do what's best for the client. Answer A. Question 4. Which of the following is most likely Helene's preferred advisor-client communication strategy? A, interrelating, B, channeling, or C, theming? So let's read more about Helene. We left off right here. During one of your advisory sessions, Helene expressed her desire for a more forward-looking conversation strategy. She believes that focusing on future hopes and goals rather than past experiences or present circumstances would align with their vision for their family's financial legacy. So let's look at these three terms, and we want to go with the one that focuses a lot more on the future than the past. So A, interrelating. Interrelating focuses on improving kind of interpersonal dynamics. And so this is more of a relational, and because it's relational, it's more so talking about past stuff that's happened with relationships. So that's probably not going to be our answer, not really focused on the future hopes and goals. B, channeling. This is something that will focus on future aspirations, and so this is going to be likely be our correct answer. Or then C, theming. This focuses on significance of desired changes. So this would be more so kind of going another level of like, okay, with these future hopes and goals, if we achieve these, what in our life really changes. So it's more forward looking, but I think channeling kind of fits the bill better since it's more focused on the actual goals. Answer B.